Hey there guys, in today's video I wanted to talk about how to deal with one of the most common pests that you are going to encounter if you have companion parrots, and that is going to be fruit flies. They can be very annoying and the treatment for them can be a little bit difficult because you want to make sure that you use something that is bird safe. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about the ways to avoid them, but also some bird safe things that you can do to help treat for them to eliminate them as a problem. So if that is an issue you have been having or just information you would like to have, make sure to stick around because that's going to be coming up right after this. Hey there guys, this is Jack over at Hi Redbird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. So if that's something you guys find interesting, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of that fun content. And today's video is going to be more fun than a swarm of flies, which isn't very hard to accomplish at all. Fruit flies are going to be something that you will most likely encounter at some point in your parrot keeping journey. As the name suggests, they are typically attracted to fruit. Fruit, as it's rotting and decomposing, can be a really large attractant for them. And since many of our birds get produce as part of their regular diet, that of course can be a concern. Now, fruit flies can also be attracted to feces, especially if it comes from fruit-eating animals. So not only do you need to worry about having, pieces of rotting fruit at the bottom of the enclosure. If your bird throws a lot of food out of its bowl, you want to make sure that you get that cleaned up, but you want to make sure you get those droppings cleaned up as well. Those are going to be the main ways that you can avoid having fruit flies. Now, the good thing about fruit flies is they are not particularly detrimental to your bird. They can't have an amazingly impactful negative influence on your bird, but they can be very, very annoying. There can be health aspects associated with that, and they can be very annoying to you as well. The other thing is fruit flies, because of their life cycle, they can move in very, very quickly. They can establish themselves very quickly. So they're usually indicative of a problem that you need to address before you start having larger, far more problematic pest issues. Maybe things like ants or rodents. Fruit flies can be a very telling first sign. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you are regularly cleaning things. That is going to include regularly changing out the produce for your bird. I know many people will only feed produce for several hours at a time. They may give it first thing in the morning, take the produce away by mid-morning after the bird has eaten as much of it as they would like, and then feed things like dried pellets, seed mixes, dehydrated produce, which the moisture definitely seems to help attract fruit flies. Dehydrated produce does not seem to attract them as readily, but it still will. So that's one thing you can do. You want to make sure that you are looking at things like the grate of your enclosure. You want to make sure that you're checking the sidewalls of your enclosure as well, since many of our birds do like to strive to use the bathroom outside of their enclosure, even when they are inside of their enclosure. You may need to wipe down things like that as well. You want to take a look at perching. A lot of different perching can hold on to droppings, especially things like rope perches or soft perches. Those can be really, really, porous. They can have a lot of places where droppings can sit in and attract fruit flies. Now, if you've already addressed all of those things in your enclosure, there might be a couple of other things that you want to take a look at as well. Fruit flies like to establish themselves inside drain pipes. So any drains in your home that do not have water over them. So that's going to include any and all sinks. That's going to include tubs and showers. You may need to go ahead and just clean out those drains. Now, There are a lot of chemicals to do that, but there is a really easy bird-safe way to do this. All you are going to need to do that is some baking soda and some distilled white vinegar. All right, guys, so you're going to start off by taking a paper towel to the sink, the tub, wherever you are having to do this. You want to make sure to get up any moisture. If there's any moisture in that sink, it is going to stick to the baking soda, making it harder to get it to fall down the drain. Now we're just going to use some regular baking soda, and we're going to go ahead and sprinkle that in the sink really close to the drain. The goal is to get as much of that to fall down into the drain as possible. So once I sprinkle it in, I'll also take my hands, try to push a little bit of that down as well. If it doesn't all make it into the drain, that's completely fine. Now we're going to take some distilled white vinegar, and we are going to pour this down our drain. It should be highly reminiscent of making a volcano in 6th grade science class. I point out that you want to use distilled white vinegar because any type of vinegar will work, but some other vinegars, especially apple cider vinegar, may leave a lingering odor in your drains. Once you're done with that, that'll expand. It'll help to clean out the walls of that pipe. Just run some hot water through the pipe to help flush out the remainder of that. You can do this several times if needed, but this is a great way to clean out your pipes that is bird safe. You can also very easily set up traps that are bird safe in order to attract fruit flies. So if you already have fruit flies, if you are trying to just eliminate them, this can be a really easy way to help you with that as well. For that, you are going to need a smooth-sided drinking glass, some apple cider vinegar, and some dish soap. All right, guys, so making a bird-safe fruit fly trap is actually pretty straightforward. You're just going to need a couple of things. A smooth-sided drinking glass. You want to make sure that it has smooth sides. If it's a textured glass, fruit flies could have the potential to climb out of it. We're going to use some apple cider vinegar. In theory, most vinegars should work for this, but apple cider vinegar definitely seems to be the best. It helps to attract flies. You just want to have, a little bit in there, enough that if a fruit fly lands in there, that they would not be able to get out. You don't have to have the glass overflowing. Then we're just going to take some dish soap, add a couple of drops to it, lightly agitate it. You don't need bubbles. You just need enough to break the surface tension so that flies land on it. They won't be able to get out. So as you can see, that is pretty simple and straightforward. And the really nice thing about these two methods of cleaning out and trapping fruit flies is that they aren't going to use the harsh chemicals that you typically see. You also want to make sure that you avoid things like fly strips if you have birds, because if your bird ever gets out of its enclosure, there is a very good chance that it could get caught on a fly strip. Now, some fly strips may have things like a cage that'll protect it so that only very small things can fly through. That would be a little more helpful. But if you just use the liquid traps, you can avoid any of the chemicals, any of the risk of your bird getting stuck to something as well. So I certainly hope these tips have been helpful for you guys. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section what other videos, what other tips and tricks for keeping birds you guys would like to see, because I love putting together these things for you guys. I do want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. I need to say thank you to my Patreon patrons for helping to make these videos possible. You can find out more by visiting Hi Red Bird on Patreon or clicking the link in the description section down below if you would like more information. Thanks!